Terrible. Just a quick note to people about the Supreme Court case in New South Wales today, and people thinking it's over because the court didn't uphold our right to free choice in the Supreme Court. So just a couple of things. Firstly, a case like this really needs to be heard by the High Court. You cannot apply directly to the High Court in this case, best I know. So you apply to the Supreme Court, and if they fail to uphold your arguments, then you take the case to the High Court. The High Court's where it always needed to be heard. It's interesting, some of the evidence put forward wasn't accepted during the Supreme Court trial, and you'll note, if you watched it, that the judge, single judge in the Supreme Court, which is not powerful enough to make such a decision as this, my opinion, also talked about section 5123AAA and sort of wrote that off as it not being applicable. Obviously that's the most applicable law that we'd be looking at in terms of our privilege in the Constitution. In other words, the referendum that decided that the privilege between ourselves and our doctors reigns supreme and Parliament can't interact with it. So you'll find that the Supreme Court action will be a stepping stone to the High Court. I would suggest the High Court appeal will be lodged pretty quickly. They've got, I think, 28 days, but they'll lodge that pretty quickly. And then, of course, the arguments change from Commonwealth of a national matter to a state matter. And the reason I say it's interesting is you'll note that in New South Wales, where they tried to mandate, and Victoria particularly, where they tried to mandate that all workers, including courts and judges and lawyers and so forth, had to be included, and they've now been excluded from the mandate. That's because of the Commonwealth situation. So you'll find Commonwealth workers don't have to comply with the mandates. State workers do, and that will play very heavily on the High Court because obviously you can't have this disparity at law in that situation. So the constitutional protections that have been used to protect Commonwealth workers will come drag down the line and leak into the protection of us, is my opinion. Yes, I've been in the High Court. Have I done any good there? No. So don't take what I'm saying as any sort of legal advice, but I would say quite comfortably that an appeal will be lodged within the next 14 days. I would suggest they'd have that ready already, and that'll be filed. And I do believe the High Court will hear it because they'll go straight to section 51 of the Constitution and several other pieces of legislation that are national rather than state related, and we'll see what happens from there. So don't panic that the Supreme Court single judge did that. The Supreme Court single judge, I wouldn't have thought would hurt it. I would have thought it would be full bench at least. And I don't think that even if the case had enough merit at a state level that a single judge would like to be the person that made that decision. So the High Court will decide, and so let's hope that those protections that Commonwealth workers are enjoying will trickle down to cover us. I believe it will, and it should get the same protections given to Commonwealth workers should be to us as well. So I think you'll find that's what will happen. I'm only saying this really quickly because I watched it earlier and I was a bit taken back like the rest of you were, and I'm seeing a lot of posts already saying that it's over. It's not even slightly over. It's I've been from the single judge to a full bench before, and I've been the single judge to the High Court. So you're better off to be, if you go before a full bench in the Supreme Court, the High Court will tend to lean towards not jumping all over them, but a single judge to the High Court on constitutional grounds is pretty open, and I think that King will do that. I think he'll do a really good job of getting the applications done, and his barristers will put that file that very, very quickly. And that'll at least do two things. It'll also stave off costs. So as soon as they file, then costs get held off. So that will save them having to deal with costs arguments right now. And I think the High Court will be very reluctant to how would I put it? Be very reluctant to allow only one portion of Commonwealth workers to be protected and leave the rest of the states' workers or essential workers to be attacked in such a discriminate way. and the court, really are a very good court of equity. But I think the Constitution, there's been about, if you're not aware, there's been about 4 or 5 cases under Section 51, 23 AAA, and in a couple of the cases before before the High Court, there was findings that stated that not only the Commonwealth couldn't do this to you, but no person could. And I think no person could would also override and create a precedent that should protect you from your employers doing this. So you'll still have to stand your ground a bit longer. I think you should stand your ground full stop. Look, that's up to you if you want to get the jab or not get the jab. Most important thing is that we shore up our right to make a free choice, and I think the High Court will support us. So don't panic. Stop panicking, everybody. I know every time we open Facebook, we open to some sort of panic. I was looking at this idiot in the Northern Territory the other day saying that everyone has to be done by a certain date, and he went on to say not just the first 2 jabs, but the jabs you'll be having afterwards. So there'll be the top-up jabs or the booster shots. And, you know, once you're trapped into that, I'll just do as I'm told kind of situation, you won't even know what's in the boosters as much as you don't know what's in the present jabs, and you'll just line up and get jabs. And one day, in years to come, we'll find out whether they fucked up big time or they didn't. But either way, I'm protecting myself and not getting the jab regardless. And let's hope that the courts come in behind us. But the courts will hear it quickly. It can be heard within the month. But unfortunately, a finding from them, yeah, I think another week. So, you know, we're coming up for Christmas. So a lot of the mandates aren't until mid-November, late November. So, you know, those guys are really suffering. Hold your ground, put your sick leave in, do the very best you can, and just hope that justice comes our way in the short term. Thanks, guys, and excuse how I look. I've been driving a convertible, and I couldn't give a fuck anyway anymore. I'm probably suffering as much as mental health-wise as much as all of you at the moment going through this. So let's just keep strong. Let's keep supporting each other. Stand your ground. This is a very, very important matter, and let's just hope the High Court come in behind us and give us something to smile about finally. Thank you, guys.